T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is up? Week 9. We are here. It was bad. It was bad, guys. That was rough.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. Brian, how did you make it out? Did you make it out of week 9 unscathed?
Not really. I at least was over 50% on my prize picks this week because I kind of avoided a lot of the premium NFL offenses. But my redraft teams just look atrocious. How about you?
Honestly, probably my home league redraft is the only league that I feel like I'm doing well in at all. So a lot of up and down dynasties. Scott Fishbowl, I was telling you, due to injuries and bye weeks, 61 points. So
Nice.
yeah,
Well,
it was not
my
great.
favorite home league. I traded Darrell Henderson for Calvin Ridley last week before he took a temporary retirement. And then I felt fine about that because I had Khalil Herbert as a running back. And then David Montgomery just healed like Russell Wilson. So
yeah, gotta love the water. All right. Well, here we go. As normal, we have a bunch of people to get into in under 15 minutes. So to start it off, I'm going to take it with Elijah Moore. So I'm actually stealing this from our leader, Chalk. So in the past 3 weeks, Elijah Moore has seen 20 targets for 14 receptions, 164 yards, and 2 touchdowns, right, this past week. He's crushed it. A little bonus note onto him, Jameson Crowder has actually seen 22 targets, 17 receptions, 156 yards. So sneaky, very similar stat lines, but he doesn't have the touchdowns to really boost up his fantasy value. Looking at these two guys' fantasy, it's a little bit tough. They have 400 yards and 414 yards and 398 yards the past 2 weeks. Hard to say that the Jets are going to keep that going. However, they have Buffalo, Miami, Houston the upcoming weeks. They have a really good playoff schedule. So, Elijah Moore is rostered in 40% Sleeper, 15% Yahoo, 15% ESPN, 27% Yahoo, and Crowder's just around similar marks. Moore is going to be the popular edition, probably going to cost a little bit more. If you don't have a lot of fab or you're looking for just a free play, Crowder, I think, is a nice little pivot. But both of those players offer some pretty interesting upside the rest of the season based on hopefully them being able to play catch up and continue to pass the ball.
I love that Mike White unlocked this offense. Just
and
get
Josh
the rookie out of there,
Johnson.
And we got Mike White is just fantastic.
Yeah, crazy.
I have the Bills receivers next week. Speaking of broken teams, my Jacksonville Jaguars I can't believe that happened. But it's been weird because the last 2 weeks I haven't had Dawson Knox. So Cole Beasley has really controlled the receptions or the targets for that team. You can say he's finally getting his shot in that offense. But he's had 24 total targets the last few weeks compared to Emmanuel Sanders having 12 and Stephon Diggs having 15. Stephon Diggs continues to disappoint. And it's hard to figure out who's going to go off every week in this offense because 2 weeks ago, Emmanuel Sanders didn't even have a catch. He had 4 targets. I think he had almost 100 air yards, which Dan knows I love air yards. But it's hard to predict if Emmanuel Sanders or Stephon Diggs is going to do well. Cole Beasley is the most consistent, but I expect his target share to decrease with Dawson Knox coming back. I would check to see if anyone dropped Dawson Knox. I heard he's supposed to start practicing this week. Not necessarily guaranteed to play this weekend. But if you're struggling on tight end, he's someone to keep your eye on to see if he has been dropped.
Yeah, actually, he's one of the guys that I have in my home league that I've essentially been burning a bench spot on, but I've held him this whole time because I'm hoping that when he comes back, he produces like he did in the beginning of the year.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Next up, the Houston backfield. This will be really quick. So last week, this was one of our segments because Rex Burkhead and Scotty Phillips were like out of nowhere leading the team. And we both said like, hey, Rex could be a great possible, like, flyer addition because if he's going to get this work, it'd be great. And then this week, Burkhead and Phillips do nothing. Philip Lindsay, David Johnson were the 1 and 2. So it was literally the complete flip of last week. So I think it just really goes to show that the entire backfield just avoid. There's no semblance of rationality. There's no consistency of who's going to play, who's going to do what. Sometimes you have to scrape the bottom of the barrel for running backs, especially at this point of the year. But right now, these past 2 weeks have showed us there's nothing that you can trust in Houston in the running back room. So I would just completely avoid that entire situation.
Yeah, I was really hoping Scotty Phillips would be a name we said every week because I have no idea who he is still. I have Dallas Goddard and the Philly offense coming up next. So they've had an extremely low passing volume in the Philly offense recently. They've had a below 50% pass rate in a neutral game script, according to Hayden Winks. And that's a 35% neutral pass rate in the last 3 weeks. So pretty much if the game is close, they're running it 2 out of every 3 times. It's ridiculous. And obviously because their star running back is playing, obviously, because Miles Sanders is not obviously injured.
Does Nick Sirianni, he hates him, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
He has to hate Miles Sanders. There's no other.
Because Jordan Howard and Boston Scott are obviously generational talents. I'm not saying Miles Sanders is, but man, it's a weird offense. But Goddard has had a almost 33% target share since Ertz got traded. So it is a low volume offense, but he has been producing with that. So last week he did have 6 targets for 3 receptions and 43 yards, which for tight ends is passable. He's had double digits the 2 previous weeks, or double-digit fantasy points the 2 previous weeks. And I think this is a massive, massive, massive buy low window because this is the floor. They can't be any more run heavy than they are right now. So it's only up. So you're at least getting this production from Goddard going forward. If they just go if they go every other play passing it and running it, then Goddard is going to the moon. So I think this is a massive buy low window that you should jump on this week if you're looking to go into the playoffs.
Yeah, love that. Next is someone we both loved in the beginning of the year, and then these past few weeks have been rough. So Mike Williams, to do a little bit of bad radio here, sorry. Week 6, 5 targets, 2 receptions. Week 7 was a bye. Week 8, 5 targets, 2 receptions. Week 9, 5 targets, 2 receptions. I don't love that. I don't love the trend at all. A little bit of context. Week 6, there was injury. Week 8, he was playing New England, and Belichick schemes up Herbert really, really well. That's not a Patriots fan thing. That's facts will show you the 2 worst games of Herbert's career. Belichick. And week 9, he was shadowed by Darius Slay, who's been crushing it this year. So there is some context behind those, frankly, really bad numbers. So for Mike Williams, I'm not panicking, but the button is on the table within reach. It's not being pushed, but it's there. I don't love it. I got to hope that week 8 was, still kind of coming back off injury with a bad matchup. Week 9 was just a really bad matchup. This week is huge for him. Minnesota is not fantastic. So this is a big week for a big get right game, a big, show out what he's doing. If he doesn't do well this week, I'm smashing the panic button on Mike Williams.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But he should smash versus Minnesota. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. But next I have the Titans backfield. We talked about it last week, kind of trying to figure out what was going on post Derrick Henry. And I think I still have no idea what's going on because of that game that happened last night. Somehow the Titans just came in to LA and just smashed the Rams in the mouth. But the stats we have is Jeremy McNichols had the most snaps. He had 45% of snaps. Adrian Peterson had 32%, and Dante Foreman had 21%. I'm not really sure there's anything we can go off of. They were really mixing in their player or mixing them in a lot. I think it might be a similar situation a few seasons ago to Washington when Adrian Peterson was there too. In that if it looks like a game that Tennessee could be possibly trailing, maybe play pass catching back in McNichols. But still, I'm not sure if McNichols is the pass catching back. But also, we don't know when the Titans are going to be trailing because this is 4 weeks in a row that they've just beaten some of the top teams in the NFL when they should have been. They were predicted to lose all 4 of those games, I'm pretty sure. The one thing I will say is Dante Foreman looked good, and he's coming off that Achilles tear. So there is hope for my boy Cam Akers with both Marlon Mack and Dante Foreman looking good. It's just more positivity for Cam Akers, and that science has progressed to help these guys, that injury not be just complete death for running backs.
Yeah, it was interesting. I would say I'm still holding out hope. So if you have McNichols or Peterson, I wouldn't go crazy and do anything. I would still kind of hold on and see what it is. But yeah, it was weird for Peterson just showing up this week. He played a good amount. So I think for both of those players, you're hopeful that continues. And yeah, the Foreman thing will be very interesting to watch. All right, take us away with our defensive notes here.
So it was very successful last week. The defense is to target and defense is to avoid. Both Chubb just completely smashed Cleveland or smashed Cincinnati's run defense. And then it was Cincinnati held on the opposite side, held Burrow to very few points. So this week, the defensive target is QBs against Minnesota. ESPN has them ranked as the 9th worst matchup. FanDuel has them as 13th, but DraftKings is smart and has them as the 31st. So one of these things is not like the other. So they've played some bad or just mediocre quarterbacks. Baker was nothing against them. Goff was terrible against them. Darnold is seeing ghosts everywhere. Then Cooper Rush looked good against them. And then Lamar just stomped them this week. I think this is a Justin Herbert smash week. I think he's the 4th most expensive quarterback on the DFS sites, but he's a smash. The defense to avoid, it was kind of hard to find one this week, but the Washington football team against running backs, FanDuel has them the 24th worst, ESPN 15th, and DraftKings 11th. So a lot of them do say it's middle of the road. The last few weeks, they've actually tightened up. Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon put up meh numbers against them. I believe it was week 7 the last time they played. And then Aaron Jones was held to 19 rush yards and 20 reception yards. So ever since they got just smashed by Kansas City, New Orleans, and Atlanta, they've really tightened up on against running backs. So I'd be a little worried about Fournette this week, and especially since it seems like people can just pass against Washington anyway, and that's all Brady wants to do now. So
yeah. Well, perfect. So that takes us to then our rapid reaction to wrap this up before halftime ends. So first off, Cortland Sutton, he only got 2 targets, 1 reception for 9 yards. That is just inexcusable at staff. You get someone like a target. Such as coming back and Taylor's back. Looked awful, but Brandon Cooks, 13 targets. Kenny Drake only had 8 targets. Something to take an eye out for. Russell Wilson looks to be back for week 10, which is going to be huge for fantasy. So if someone dropped him and he's still out there, definitely go get a waiver for him if you need a quarterback. Chris Carson is going to practice this week. Could mean literally nothing, but could be a huge bump in a running back that, we talk about all the time. The running backs have been injured crazy this year, so it could be a huge bump. And last but not least, our favorite, the second week in a row here, the Robbie Anderson of the Week award. So again, the Robbie Anderson of the Week award goes to someone that garnered a lot of targets, but did absolutely nothing with them. So here we go. The Robbie Anderson of the Week award goes to Tyreek Hill. Woo! Tyreek Hill, congratulations. You had 11 targets and you caught 4 of them for 37 yards. Congratulations, Tyreek Hill. You are this week's Robbie Anderson.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, this is going to be a
Also,
good one.
thing with Russell Wilson is there's a lot of smoke that's where OBJ is going. So if you get Russell Wilson back, Chris Carson back, and OBJ,
That'd be fun. Very fun. All right, gang. Well, this is the show. Halftime is just starting, so this is perfect. Down. See you next month. Peace.
see everyone.